Hi, and thank you for joining me as I continue using my scraps. And today I'm using the triangles and squares left over from Thursday's video. So I wanted to create a bit of a background on my white cardstock. So I've just grabbed some acrylic paint in a colour that coordinates nicely with the scraps and also the photo of James. And I'm just using a palette knife to smear that down the page. I've centred it to the left, no particular reason because James is looking straight on in the photo. I favour the left, probably because I'm left-handed. So you can see I was using the edge of the palette knife just to create some more stripes and more texture on the page, and then I moved that over to one side and left it to dry. And now I'm grabbing my Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous stitching stamps and using Archival ink to stamp those across the page horizontally. I just wanted to introduce some black onto this tealy green just for some interest, or sage green. I don't really know what colour to call that anymore. Everything seems to blend into one, doesn't it, sometimes when you're looking at colours. So just choosing various stamps from this set to add across this background, and then I'm going to bring in, you can see I've got the triangles and squares in the top left hand corner that I'm going to bring in to add to this background before I add my photo. The photo is just a small photo that I printed from my laptop, and you can choose wallet size prints. I think it looks a little bit smaller than 3x4, and then I've backed it, I think, with some, it printed with a white border, so I just trimmed that out with the white border around it. So you can see some of these stamps I'm doubling up, so matching them as they go across the page to make a longer strip, and some of them I'm just using a single strip. And I'm turning them around as well in places so that they look different in different places. And now I'm bringing in some of my white acrylic paint, and this paint is awful. The lid's broken and it's really dried up. I definitely need to get some new paint. But I just wanted to use some bubble wrap to create some more texture on the background. So I'm just using my roller to roll that white paint onto the bubble wrap and then stamp it down. But it is a little bit dry, so it doesn't work terribly well, but you get the idea. It just provides a little bit more interest on that background. But as I say, I definitely need to get some more white acrylic paint. But you can see the texture that it creates. I love stamping with bubble wrap. It's a great way of adding texture to your page. So I've got a big blob there in the middle, but it doesn't matter, it's going to be covered. As I say, this is just to add a little bit more interest to the background. Most of it gets covered anyway. Just adding one last little bit in the middle there. And then I can move on to bringing in the papers. So I've just cleared that up, and now these are the triangles and squares that I've chosen, and I'm going to add 2 strips of triangles down the middle, 4 on each side, with a long face against each other but offset, you can see there. And then I'm going to add some squares as diamonds in between those in a second. So just bringing in the photo to check that I'm happy with that. And here are those squares. And you can see these kind of fade into the background a little bit. I knew I was going to have to do something to define the edges a bit more. So I'm bringing in my black soot distress oxide, scrunching up the paper to get a distress look. And then I'm going to distress the edges with the ink. I haven't done this for ages. I used to do it a lot years and years ago when I scrapbooked, but I sort of got out the habit and tend to go more towards roughing up the edges with my edge distresser because I like the texture that provides. But by doing this, inking the edges and scrunching up the paper, you get that same distressed look. So I've really enjoyed doing that on this page. So I won't make you watch all of this. I do a few more, but I'm inking each of the edges and scrunching up the shape, and then sticking these triangles flat down onto the page. And then when I move on to the squares, I'll do the same. I'll scrunch them up and ink the edges, but I'm going to add those on foam pads just to provide a little bit of height to the page and a little bit of a different texture. So there I am, just scrunching up the square, inking the edges, using plenty of ink to give that definition against the background because the colours are all similar, and you can see how that really pops against the background. And here I am just bringing my photo in, deciding where it's going to go. So adding some foam squares now to those squares to get them stuck down. And I'm also going to step them across the page. So the bottom one is quite tight against the triangles, and then this second one I'm going to move further across the page. You'll see what I mean in a second. So there's a bigger gap between that and the triangles. There we go. And again, it's just creating movement across the page, and I'll do the same on the left hand side as I have done on the right hand side. So just adding a foam pad to the back and then getting that stuck down at the top there. And as I say, it's going closer into the triangles at the top and bottom and then further out in the middle. So just fading out to do the last one here. And that's the background done, and now I can focus on the photo. So I'm going to map this onto black cardstock to create the same sort of idea, just to make it stand out against all those different background papers. So just a very narrow border will make such a difference, and it will really make it pop on the page. So there's the photo, and now I'm going to go into some old stash. So this is the Simple Storage Vintage Essentials foam stickers. And I find a title that says Beautiful Dreamer, and I think that works really nicely because it's not a picture of anything in particular, it's just James looking cute in the lounge. Gosh, years ago, it was 2010, so he wasn't quite 3 in this photo. So I stuck that down and then realised that I needed to add some foam pads just to make sure that it was all the same height. So just adding those down the right hand side of that photo, and then I can stick that down, because those squares, of course, are already raised up on foam. So bringing in my T-square just to check that everything is straight. Just need to straighten that title a little bit, and then bringing in Dreamer. Now I stuck that Beautiful a bit too far across. It should have been a little bit further to the right, but I know from experience not to mess with a foam sticker once it's stuck on a photo. When it's there, it's there. So I just readjusted how I was going to add that word Dreamer. And then again, adding some foam pads to the right hand side where it's not on top of the squares or diamonds. And there's the title. And now I'm going to go through some other bits and pieces. So first of all, some scraps of cardstock, because as well as paper, I do save scraps of card, particularly black, white and craft, because you can always use those with punches and dies to add to your page. So I'm using that lovely We Are Memory Keepers hole reinforcer punch and just punching out some rings to add in black around almost there, and I just bend these up and then use my Nuvo to glue them down. So this is using the scraps from that layout on Thursday. If you haven't seen that, please do check the playlist. All the videos from this Using My Scraps series are in a playlist now, so I'll keep adding to that over the coming weeks. So this is one of those craft card scraps that I've used my EK Success tab punch on to add to the left hand side, and now I'm just going through the other bits in my drawer. This is from the 49er Market Sunburst chipboard words, and then I've got these Ellie Studio foam puffy stickers. That's a little photo corner which I thought would work really nicely in that angle, and then just adding some of the little pieces from these puffy stickers around the page, some little arrows, and then there's a little piece that says hi that I'm adding to the top there, and some little speech bubbles with hearts on. Now into my trusty folder of stickers. See what I've got here. So just having a quick scan through to see what's there. Nothing in that left hand pouch, but then as I go through the right, I'll find a few bits to add. So this sticker was torn, so I couldn't sell it, so it just went into my stash years ago. So I just thought I'll trim off that torn edge, and this says happy ... so that works nicely underneath the date there. And then this my mind's eye sticker that says you make me so happy, so that goes down at the bottom of the page there. And then my other file which has more Vicky Boutin stickers. So a little flag that says hello there, that's going at the top of the page. And I'm just, so you can see, I'm using all tonals. I've used that brighter blue because that's the colour of James's shirt, so that works nicely. Now that black sticker says love all the things, and then now I'm just bringing in some little stars and hearts from this sticker sheet to dot about. Any more? Yep, a couple more. And I'm focusing on putting these on the white background because they've got a white border around, and I just couldn't be bothered trimming that white border off. So by putting them on the white card, they work really nicely. Now this sticker says loved, capable, worthy. And that pretty much does it. I'm just going to cover up my photos and use my watercolour paints from Tim Holtz to add some black splatters, and that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this scraps video, and I shall see you again very soon for another one. See you then. Bye.